All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We're glad to have you all. Before we get started, my name's Kayla. I'm here representing the Acelab team, and we have Peter here from ForeverLawn Las Vegas. So before I pass it over to Peter to walk us through the presentation, I want to quickly take over screen share. All right, let's see here. I'm going to pull up Acelab for just a moment. All right, so in just a moment, you should be able to see my screen here. Um, so those of you are probably already familiar, but anytime you're looking to do a little bit of research on Acelab, you can search any specific manufacturer by using the search bar at the top of your screen. Here we are on ForeverLawn's page. There's some really great information here for you. We've got Peter's contact information here as well, so that way you can get in touch with him after the webinar today. We've got some highlights here, video, as well as all of their products for you to explore. So this is a great place to visit after the webinar today to learn a little bit more about the products. You can click into any one of these product pages to learn more as well. You can also save any of these products specifically to your firm library. That way you have it there for future reference. So whenever you have a moment, definitely check out their page. I will drop a link to the page in the chat in just a moment. But before that, I want to go over a few other items. This is an AIA-approved presentation, so we did collect your numbers already upon registration. So you're probably already good to go there. However, if you're worried we didn't get your AIA number, no worries. I'm going to drop a form in the chat as well. You can use that to fill it out and share your AIA number with us so you can get credit. We will also be doing Q&A today towards the end. So if at any point during the presentation you have any questions, feel free to click that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, drop your questions there, and then towards the end, I will read those out loud to get those answered for you. Next, I want to make sure everybody knows about our poll that we'll be doing today. You'll see that pop up on your screen towards the end of the presentation. That's really there just to collect your interest. It is an optional poll. If you're not interested in getting connected with Peter and his team, feel free to just click the X and make the poll go away. However, if you are interested in getting follow-up information, fill out that poll. You'll get an email within a few days after the webinar connecting you with Peter and his team. And it will be coming from a no reply Acelab email address. However, you can reply to the email to respond to Peter. It's a great way to get any other questions answered or talk about any specific projects you may have, things like that. So yeah, definitely check out that poll whenever you see that pop up. We will also do a post-webinar survey. So we welcome any feedback that you have, so you can share that there. But that's everything on my end. So Peter, I'll go ahead and pass it back to you to get us started.
Perfect. Thank you, Kayla, and welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me today. Like Kayla said, my name is Peter. I represent ForeverLawn. I'm the branch manager out in Las Vegas. We are a nationwide company, and we have about 90 locations nationwide. So be happy to connect you to your local market, but appreciate you joining me today. Today we're going to be going over the benefits of synthetic grass for playgrounds. As Kayla mentioned, this is AIA approved for CEU credits. As we go through the presentation, we'll cover most of the questions on the test. This is so you can keep track of the answers and easily transfer them to your AEC online portal. This program qualifies for 1.25 credits. Purpose and learning objectives. So this course reviews that development of synthetic grass and focuses on the specifics for use on playgrounds. This focus includes a detailed examination of its construction, installation, and maintenance, and a number of sample installations. At the end of this program, participants will be able to list the standard components of synthetic grass and describe how each component contributes to aesthetics, fall safety, and durability. Recall synthetic grass selection criteria and specify the correct type of synthetic grass to meet specific needs. Design and detail durable, code-compliant, safe, and aesthetically pleasing playground services, and monitor synthetic grass installations to ensure they are expedited correctly to produce long-lasting and low-maintenance installations. So what exactly is synthetic grass? Basically, as many of you know, it's a multi-layered surfacing system made from synthetic fibers and a permeable backing, designed to provide the look of natural grass with enhanced durability, safety, and performance. Has a wide variety of applications, but today we'll just be talking about the playground applications. Synthetic grass was originally created to provide a safer, softer play surface for inner city youth. The first install was in 1964. And then the 1966 installation of the AstroTurf at the Houston Astrodome is the best known example of the origination. As many of you know, those were very hard surfaces back in the day, and they're basically just as hard as concrete. So the trademark AstroTurf, which was granted in 1967, which is still referred to by some people today. How has synthetic grass evolved? We're on third generation turf systems. And what's improved is it's a soft, realistic feel underfoot. So no more abrasive or stiff surfaces. Engineered infill and padding systems improve shock absorption and safety. Application specific design. So you have products and systems made specifically for playgrounds, sports fields, pet areas, all just for better performance and functionality. UV stable yarns prevent fading and maintain visual consistency outdoors. How are synthetic grass systems made? So basic system includes multiple layers. You have polypropylene, polyethylene, or nylon blades, which are stitched onto a solid backing. Multiple blade shapes, types, and colors, 3-layer or unitary backing, drainage holes, padding system underneath the turf, high density polyethylene or treated lumber nailer boards, and then infill. What exactly does infilling mean? The turf has a topping made with resilient material sprinkled between the blades in order to ensure the blades remain stable, uniformly spaced, and resilient. Some examples that you'll see in the field are silica sand, which is the cheapest option, usually naturally occurring quartz. Performance sand, which is acrylic coated. It helps resist compaction and usually infused with antimicrobial protection. And then you also have crumb rubber, which will help lower initial safety testing scores, but it compacts over time and tends to be hotter. So that's definitely a factor in areas where heat is a concern. Safety is the most important part of a playground, which makes the padding the most important part of any turf system. The padding should provide consistent, predictable fall protection across the entire surface, should help reduce injury risk in high use and fall zones, maintain performance over time without compressing or degrading, be non-absorbent to prevent mold, bacteria, and waterlogging, allow for vertical and lateral drainage to keep the surface dry, be IPMA certified and ADA compliant. Another example of padding you may have seen. So this is recycled foam for padding. EPP foam is the best, but this is another option. Foam recovered from manufacturing or automotive scrap pieces are chopped into pieces and molded into pieces and panels. Problems are recycled products are inconsistent. The durability is not as high. The pad can become stiff and break down over time. However, it is a lower cost. EPP foams, which is expanded polypropylene, alone usually can protect up to 10 to 12 feet, depending on the system around it. Another option is cellular padding, also referred to as a ground grid. That is filled with a chunk rubber. This is used when higher fall ratings are desired. So why the grid? It helps the rubber stay in place, strengthens the foundation, and helps resist compaction. It has an 8-year warranty, whereas EPP usually has at least a 10 and sometimes up to a 15-year warranty. This option will exceed the head injury criterion, or also known as the HIC requirements, by 63%. Is ASTM F1292 certified up to a 13-foot fall, and has an 8x8 safety surface warranty, which means it's guaranteed to meet ASTM F1292 standards for 8 years at an 8-foot fall height. It's also ADA compliant. There's three basic blade categories when determining the style of blade that we're referring to. So you have your slit film. Slit film blades has flat yarns created, which create a netted perforated blade structure for high durability. It's ideal for high traffic and sports applications. It does have a less natural appearance, but it holds infill very well. Next, you have your monofilament blades. They're individual single strand blade fibers, which mimic real grass aesthetics. They're better for landscape or low to medium traffic areas. They require more infill to support the fibers. Next, you have your thatch. Thatch is short, curly secondary yarns woven into the base. They provide visual depth and add support to main blades. The purpose is to reduce infill migration and enhance realism. How is synthetic grass described? So when you're looking at product specification sheets from a variety of manufacturers, oftentimes you'll see these terms on the sheets: yarn type, yarn color, yarn count, or denier, tufting construction, blade height, tufting gauge, face weight, total product weight, backing, anti-static technology, antimicrobial protection, seaming, and infill. So then you have understanding turf backing systems. The primary backing, which provides foundational dimensional stability for tufted yarns. Typically, it's a dual layered and coated with urethane. It includes drainage holes and requires glued seams for installation. Premium backing, which is what you see here, that covers the primary backing. It's a triple layer system, has a dual layer base, froth urethane encapsulation, and geotextile laminate. The encapsulated blade stitch is froth urethane. It locks blades and protects against abrasion, so it's meant to just enhance durability. And then it also makes way to a micromechanical seaming system, which essentially, this backing is a geotextile layer that can be seamed with a Velcro-like seaming system that removes the requirement of glue, actually. So superior performance, it enhances stability, reduces infill needs, and improves underfoot feel. Typical drainage rate, it exceeds 25 inches per hour. So why use synthetic grass? Primary reasons are very little maintenance. You can get away with just grooming the turf fibers, as little as 2 times per year. It has a consistent appearance in all weather. It won't fade or crack. It's extremely durable with a 15-year warranty, which really can mean something different to anyone. For example, in a landscape setting, it may mean how long is this grass going to be looking brand new? For an athletic director at a school, it may be how many hours of football can I play on it before I need to consider replacement. For us in a playground setting, it means how long is this system going to remain safe? You'll have manufacturers have 15, 10, maybe 8-year warranties. So the turf is going to get beat up, we hope. Otherwise, the kids aren't doing their job. So durability is knowing that whether it's a 10th, 100th, or 1,000th time sliding down the slide, if a kid falls, the surfacing below will remain resilient. And then flexible design, custom colors and inserts, and encourages creative and open play. And these two elements really go hand in hand. So, yeah. Specifying high performance synthetic grass. So it's critical. The critical safety standard is HIC, which is a head injury criterion. The lower the HIC score, the safer the surface. Generally, you want HIC scores to be below 1,000. And then you also want to verify the Gmax score. The Gmax measures the severity of body impact on a surface. The Public Playground Safety Handbook, released by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, notes that there are 200,000 children reported injured in playground accidents every year, and that 44% of those injuries are from falls. They list the following as acceptable playground surfaces. So you have your synthetic grass systems, poured-in-place rubber, which is very common out here in, Las Vegas and other desert climates, shredded, recycled rubber mulch, engineered wood fiber, pea gravel, and sand. The same handbook lists these surfaces as unacceptable. So you have asphalt, carpet that's not tested for fall safety, concrete, chromated copper arsenate, treated wood mulch, dirt, and natural grass. In relation to the water savings that turf offers over natural grass, some estimates state that an average natural grass lawn uses 55 gallons of water per square foot annually. So this is a picture here of a poured-in-place playground that's definitely been weathered and worn over time. If any of you guys have younger children and you take your kids to playgrounds that has poured-in-place rubber, you may have seen these. Synthetic grass is an alternative surfacing solution that's most commonly compared against poured-in-place. Both meet ADA and ASTM standards, but differ in areas like maintenance, longevity, and visual consistency. This comparison helps clarify where each option excels and how synthetic grass can offer long-term value depending on project goals. So just looking at these two comparisons, you can see that the maintenance requirements of poured-in-place is much higher. And oftentimes when that's neglected, you'll see, results that you see in the picture. The lifespan is also shorter on poured-in-place rubber, and it's generally a little bit more expensive installed as well. So this image demonstrates one of the issues related to loose surfaces. The surfacing material has been widely scattered through normal play and requires regular raking in order to maintain appearance as well as the safety requirements of the playground. So as you see here, this is a wood mulch playground where there's tons of displacement happening. And, it just creates a lot of need for upkeep, not to mention, we commonly hear things getting lost in the wood chips, whether it's shoes or earrings or, even dangerous matter can get lost in there, or even animals have been known to burrow underneath, creating kind of definitely a safety hazard. The primary test for surfacing safety is ASTM F1292, which is the standard specification for impact attenuation of surface systems under and around playground equipment. This test provides a critical height rating of the surface. Critical height is the fall height below which a life-threatening injury is not expected to occur. The fall height of a piece of equipment is the distance from the highest designated play surface on a piece of equipment to the surface below it. Not all products are created equally. It is important to confirm product performance standards. So each product should be assessed for the following: softness, accessibility, durability, cleanliness, maintenance requirements, antimicrobial properties, and anti-static properties. If the product is manufactured with an antimicrobial technology, it can inhibit the growth of bacteria on the grass, and as the blades wear, even more antimicrobial action can be released. This adds an extra layer of protection. Static shocks are common on playgrounds and can startle children or interfere with medical devices like cochlear implants. For inclusive designs, choose a surfacing product that incorporates proven anti-static technology. Additional assessment considerations. So you have your dimensional stability, construction and backing quality, drainage characteristics, mold, mildew, and decay resistance, infill requirements and options. And then you also want to obviously determine the installation cost. Dimensional stability refers to how well synthetic turf maintains its shape, size, and structural integrity, especially when exposed to stress like heat, foot traffic, or environmental changes. The last attribute to consider here, which is a very common issue here in Las Vegas, reflected heat from low E windows, vinyl fencing, and other reflective surfaces. So the primary blades of turf are generally polyethylene, which has a melting point of 200 degrees. And in the right conditions, reflective light, especially in hot climates like Las Vegas, it can actually melt the turf because it creates a surface hotter than 200 degrees. However, there is a solution to that. There are nylon blade options for turf, and nylon has a melting point of 400 degrees. So there are companies, including ours, that will warranty even against turf melt because of this high melting point property. So nylon is extremely durable and heat resistant. It's more rigid and abrasive and used for heat resistance, embankments, or extreme traffic. This year, the next few slides, we're going to go over pictures of how the installation will go on a playground. So from left to right, you're going to ensure site conditions are acceptable for installation. You're going to remove existing sub base to the proper depth. That's just going to vary on the system that you're going to be installing, fall height requirements, etc. Then you're going to install perimeter boards. Perimeter boards have really become more popular on playground installations as opposed to landscape spikes. Sometimes for obvious reasons. Landscape spikes can create a hazard for children on playgrounds. You know, if they become exposed or they rust, you know, they can become, you know, an injury hazard. So the perimeter boards can create a stable foundation, but also provide a surface that you can staple the turf to along the perimeter. Next, you're going to bring in your aggregate base and ensure proper depth. Then you're going to compact it to create a smooth surface. And then you will install fall-safe padding. So the thickness in this will vary of your padding depending on the fall height requirements. Then you will roll out synthetic turf according to the layout. Cut turf as needed to fit around the poles and equipment. It's important to lay this out strategically because you're going to want to avoid seams in high traffic areas, for example, under slides or under swings. And then you need to cut off the factory edge. Next, you'll line up your seams. So you see that tool in number 10, it's a carpet cincher. Really what it does, it really gets your seams together precisely without having to be too invasive with your hands and maybe pulling too much or not enough. And this really helps you get super accurate. Then you're going to secure your seams together using either a micromechanical seam tape or your standard seam taping glue. And then you'll trim your edges to the perimeter board to create a perfect fit to the designated area. Next, you'll secure your grass to the perimeter board using a pneumatic staple gun. The staple size is generally 1 inch, 18 gauge stainless steel staples. Next, you'll spread infill into the grass. The depth at which you'll spread infill will vary from manufacturer to manufacturer, and the type of infill you'll use will vary as well. Next, you'll clean up trash and debris, and then you have your finished playground. So now we'll look at a few sample installation details. This here is an edge detail drawing of an example of a playground system. So you have your sub base. I mean, here in Las Vegas, we have hard, compact soil out here, which means when it's loose, it becomes a fine sand. So it's a great foundation to support a turf system, requires less excavation, but absorbs water much slower. Why is drainage important? At least here in Las Vegas, it doesn't rain often here, but rainfall has a cumulative effect. Water erosion actually shaped the Vegas Valley. So erosion of the subbase or type 2 base will happen, just a matter of when, depending on site conditions. So I say all that to say that it's important to specify the base material. We recommend specifying a clean, angular, crushed pea gravel to maintain the drainage, but also give you the necessary compaction. Compaction percentage of the install base is not as important. Often you'll see type 2 compacted to 95%, but it's not as important as if you were building a road, for example. The base should be angular, free of fines, and highly drainable to allow liquids to percolate vertically and slowly absorb into the earth. A 3/8 to 1/2 inch clean crushed angular stone is recommended. This here is a system which is partially over concrete. So as long as you specify a system that satisfies fall height requirements, over concrete is an option. You also see the nailer boards depicted in this image, as we spoke about earlier. Now, landscape spikes aren't technically illegal on playgrounds, but they're not recommended and often non-compliant with national safety standards, especially if you're trying to meet ASTM F1292, ADA, or IPMA guidelines. And really, the main reasons why are they loosen over time, especially in high traffic areas like under swings or slides. They can become exposed, posing a serious tripping or impalement hazard. They don't offer permanent tamper-resistant anchoring, which is important for child safety. And they typically don't meet ASTM 1951 or ADA accessibility if they cause uneven seams or raised edges. Here's another one. So this one is over rubber mulch. Obviously, this is a very thick system. So this depicts 6 inches of new or existing loose rubber, which is important because it's not commonly known that you can actually turf right over these systems. So if you have a failing system, maybe that has divots, or it's pitted, or it's cracked over time, similar to the image that we saw earlier, rather than digging it up and then placing in it, or then installing a new system, you can actually extend the environmental footprint, make sure that it maintains safety standards, but then you can turf right over it. This here is for a 15-foot critical fall height over rubber mulch. So this here just depicts that you can put the synthetic turf right up next to alternative systems. So oftentimes you'll see, a playground next to other landscaping, whether it's rocks or wood mulch or even poured in place rubber, as you'll see in the next slide. So it's very versatile in that you can combine multiple surfaces as long as you have safety standards being met within the play area. As mentioned, this was turf right up next to poured in place. You have your 1/2 inch EPDM wear layer. This is common. You'll see this at playgrounds, or what comes to mind for me is like a daycare. You'll have poured in place rubber directly underneath the play equipment, but then to enhance aesthetics or maybe create a more landscape look, you'll have turf outside the play area. So again, it's just a way that you can combine surfacing options to create the look that you or the client is looking for. Maintenance of synthetic grass. As with every other aspect of artificial grass, maintenance requirements vary slightly from product to product. Some products only require that the fibers be groomed twice a year with a power broom to stand fibers back up. Occasional maintenance with a blower, brush, and/or sweeper may be necessary to remove any loose dirt or debris that accumulates on the surface as a result of use. The frequency of this work depends totally on the amount of use and accumulation. The grass can also be groomed with a simple plastic leaf rake, stiff bristled push broom, or as noted, a power broom. When doing this, pull the items against the lay of the turf to lift the blades. While not required, an occasional rinse with water will keep the grass clean as well. Next few slides, we'll go over a few sample installations. This here was an installation in Arizona at Window Rock School. So the school's previous playground was destroyed by a fire sparked by fireworks igniting loose rubber mulch. It's located on Navajo Reservation, and the new playground needed a non-flammable, safety certified surfacing option. So synthetic grass was selected because it meets ASTM D2859 flammability pill test and offers fall protection. The solution provided a long-term safety, compliance, and reduced fire risk without sacrificing playability. This here is a park above in New Mexico. This is a great example of how thoughtful design and the right surfacing solution can transform a community space. A park above prioritizes inclusion, and synthetic turf plays a huge role in achieving full ADA compliance while enhancing safety and comfort for all users. Anti-static properties reduce issues for kids with sensory sensitivities or electronic devices like cochlear implants. So this was New Mexico's first fully inclusive design that included both ADA accessibility and also anti-static technology. This here is a design strategy example. So swings and slides experience the most wear and tear due to concentrated use. This project incorporated contrasting turf colors and high impact zones for strategic separation. So one of the most common questions we have is maintenance and repairs and how long does the turf last? And the answer is it varies depending on where we're talking about on the playground, really. So this here, as you see in the picture, there's yellow turf incorporated in the high use zones. So over time, those areas will wear out quicker. And if you do need to replace them, then you can just cut out the yellow circle, add in more yellow turf without disturbing or invading the rest of the turf area. Makes maintenance and repair super easy. So in summary, the synthetic or artificial grasses that are available today bear almost no resemblance to the original versions created over 50 years ago. The product has gone through several major generations of development and is now far softer, safer, resilient, durable, UV resistant, and realistic looking than ever. It must be remembered that there are many versions of this product and each product must be assessed on its own merits. Current product technology facilitates a wide range of customization of the product to suit specific uses. Although it was originally developed for playgrounds, it has evolved to a point where it is now very suitable for municipal parks, major sports fields, putting greens, pool surrounds, indoor play surfaces, resorts and attractions, roadway medians, and much more. Synthetic grass systems are particularly suited for playgrounds where safety is a prime consideration. These systems include an upper layer of soft grass, which is the turf, on top of a padding layer and a quick draining base layer. Together, these layers provide a soft, dry surface that effectively absorbs the impact from falls, which is the main source of playground injuries. Synthetic grass surfaces have a number of advantages for playground use over the options available. These grasses never need watering, do not use pesticides or herbicides, are available with antimicrobial and anti-static technologies, have a consistent year-round appearance, require minimal maintenance, and are durable, warrantable, available in various colors, inflammable, usable in almost every weather condition, and quick drying. Choosing the perfect solution for each and every playground installation is a matter of assessing the context and user needs and matching them to product attributes. Establishing user needs includes identifying the appropriate safety requirements, which is the fall height, the age and physical abilities of the children who will use the facility, ADA compliance requirements, and aesthetics. Product attributes that should be assessed include grass construction, which is comprised of your tough strength, yarn, blade, and backing type, the appearance, softness, resilience, safety, and health attributes, the durability, initial and long-term costs, maintenance requirements, warranty, UV stability, and resistance to mold and decay. A full assessment will result in a beautiful, safe, long-lasting playground that will be an asset to every situation. So that was pretty much it for the presentation piece. I'm just going to jump into a couple of slides on ForeverLawn as a whole, who we are, and kind of what to expect when working with us as partner. So what we offer architects, ongoing continuing education credit opportunities. Here in a local market, we do a lot of lunch and learns to, obviously introduce ourselves and our products, but also get you acclimated with our systems and so forth. Project specific demos and samples. local concierge level support. As previously mentioned, there's 90 dealers throughout the country, so chances are there's one in your local market. Expertise you can rely on. That goes for all synthetic turf. We strive to be product category experts and try to give unbiased opinions across the board when it comes to your synthetic turf specifications. And then lastly, spec protection and relationship management. We build relationships with general contractors and landscape contractors to protect your spec and deliver on your vision. Our goal is to help however we can and make sure things go smoothly from start to finish. So ForeverLawn, we've been an industry leader in synthetic grass solutions since 2004. ForeverLawn sets the standard in artificial turf innovation, offering premium products designed for durability, safety, and aesthetics. Specialized turf for every application. So to date, we have just over 60 products for different all for different uses. They range from high performance sports fields to low maintenance landscaping, playground safety surfacing, and pet friendly solutions. We really want to tailor our solution directly to the client's needs and wants. Proven results and trusted nationwide, decades of experience, an exclusive dealer network, and a commitment to quality. ForeverLawn products are installed across the U.S. in commercial, residential, and municipal projects. So real quick, I'm just going to go over our 5 vertical brands that make up the ForeverLawn product lineup. Number 1, as we discussed, was playground grass. So playground grass by ForeverLawn was the first playground-specific turf coming to market in 2004. It was the first synthetic turf designed specifically for playgrounds. We're IPMA certified, dating back all the way to 2005, which means that our synthetic turf meets and exceeds the rigorous safety standards for IPMA. We incorporate X-static technology on our Playground Grass Ultra product, which is engineered with anti-static technology, reducing static buildup for a safer play experience. And then we have ongoing innovation. So with the launch of Play Mounds, FunCerts, FunScapes, Safety Foam Pro, Fuzzy Friends, and more, ForeverLawn continues to pave the way with solutions that are fun, safe, and exclusive. Details to a lot of that stuff are going to be directly accessible through Acelab, but then also contact me directly and I'm happy to provide more information. Canine grass. So the 4 things with canine grass, it's durable, drainable, cleanable, and antimicrobial. The thing I want to highlight is the drainability. So canine grass is unique to the industry in that it has a completely knitted backing similar to a sweater. So that provides 100% edge-to-edge drainage. You can run a faucet directly through it. There are not any drain holes or a unitary backing inhibiting any drainage. And it also doesn't require infill. So you have a drainable product that prevents puddling, urine saturation. It just makes for a much cleaner surface in dog areas. Landscapes. So this is our basically run-of-the-mill, just landscaping turf meant to spruce up your areas for more aesthetically pleasing landscape. Low maintenance, high satisfaction, realistic aesthetics. But the key thing is the all nylon options we have in this lineup. So made with all nylon fibers, these products are engineered to resist reflective light damage and withstand heavy foot traffic. So it's perfect for areas with low E windows, rooftops, recreation areas, event amphitheater spaces, and places containing fire pits. One of the more notable installations where landscapes is installed is actually at Walt Disney World. So where it's very high traffic area, people and kids and walking all over it all day. We actually have our nylon products there, which has actually held up very well over time. So I'm happy to share those installations with you as well. And then sports grass. So this is our athletic field turf. Big enough to be trusted, small enough to care. So it's family owned with over 20 years in business. Our first field installation was in 2005, which is still in use today. local businesses backed by a national brand. So oftentimes with sports fields manufacturers, you have regional based installation crews and sales teams, which creates sometimes problems for customer service after a field is installed. Whereas with ForeverLawn's business model and having localized dealerships, the relationship really starts after the field is installed, which is beneficial for a lot of clients. And then my last slide here, this is 6 other brands that we have. So result specific products, you have our golf greens, which is obviously for putting greens. Bocce grass made for playing bocce, apartment complexes, recreation spaces, things like that. Equine grass, so this is meant for horse stables and other horse areas. Pickleball grass serves as an alternative, so we can actually use turf to serve as an alternative to concrete acrylic coated pickleball courts. It's not necessarily a better option, but I would say it's a different option. Definitely produces a different bounce, but we also have players that report a more comfortable playing surfaces, either on their knees and joints, things like that. So might just be an alternative place in a pickleball complex. Elements, that's going to be a value engineered, budget friendly turf. So it has the same quality control as a lot of our other products. However, it's just using sometimes a little bit more affordable materials. And then splash grass. Splash grass is another common product used in play spaces to go onto splash pads. So that's all I have for today. I'm not sure, I'll kick this back to Kayla, but I'd love to have an open forum, talk about upcoming projects or servicing questions or anything that came up throughout the presentation. So again, thank you guys for joining me, and yeah, hope to talk to some of you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Peter. Yeah, we can go ahead and jump into some questions now. So folks, if there was anything that, you were still wondering about or had questions about, now's the time to ask it. So feel free to drop those in the Q&A. But to get us started, I have somebody asking for a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. Peter, that's something you'll be able to share afterwards today, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Yes, we'll get you guys connected. Just go ahead and share that. Um, all right. Next, I have what are the height options and which would work best for high traffic commercial applications?
So the height options, they are going to be dependent on the equipment manufacturer. Depending on the structure that's in place. For example, the one that's in this picture here, you have a really tall slide. You're going to need a safety surface that meets fall height requirements up to the highest point that somebody can fall, and hit their head. So generally it goes up to 15 feet. And it could be anywhere beneath. So, usually 3 through 15 in 1 foot increments.
Okay, wonderful.
And with that, just to not to cut you off, Kayla, but you're going to have different padding thicknesses underneath to compensate for however much fall height you need.
Right. Awesome. Okay, thank you for that. Next, we have do you provide installation services or work with any certified contractors in different areas?
The answer is both, and that's going to be dealer dependent. But all 90 of our dealers are certified installers as well. So generally, we offer a turnkey solution with product and installation.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. Let's see here. Okay, how does this product perform in extreme weather conditions, hot, cold, etc.?
I mean, the answer is very good. I mean, we have it installed in places as Minnesota, which is very cold, and then you have it here in Vegas. So, it holds up great. You're not going to see much expansion and contraction with the surface, and it's going to stay consistent year round. So, you can have a foot of snow on it, and it's as simple as just clearing off the snow, and the surface will remain um, unaffected. But then issues like out here in hot climates, where the surface temperature is an issue, you're generally going to want shade, which is actually a requirement here in Vegas to have shade on a playground. But it is going to be hot to the touch, and you're going to want to combat that with shade or not touching with your bare hands or feet in the hottest parts of the day.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think that's actually the last question I have for now. So, oh, looks like I just got another one actually. So is artificial grass, sorry, do artificial grass, ooh, sorry, I cannot read right now. Um, is artificial grass emits gas against the environment? I guess they're asking if there's any kind of
Yeah,
gases that are emitted.
I mean that's a commonly we hear that a lot. I think the research is still and the studies are still out on that. To be honest with you, I can't give you a clear answer either way. What I can tell you is many manufacturers, specifically ForeverLawn, we do our best to maintain environmental responsibility, limit things like PFAS to an extremely minimal amount, use recycled materials in the construction of our products, um, and just try to, like I said, maintain our commitment to sustainability.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So I think that is the last one for now then. So thank you everyone for those questions. If you have any other ones, feel free to put them in the survey as well. Um, like I mentioned before, if you did fill out the poll, we will be sending you an email within the next couple of days, connecting you with Peter and his team to get any of those project specific questions answered. So please keep an eye on your inbox for that. And you can reply directly to the email or log into your Acelab account to reply. Um, any final notes or comments you'd like to make, Peter, before we wrap it up today?
No, I don't have anything. Just thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I'm here to be a resource, however you guys see fit.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Peter. We really appreciate your time. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you all have a great day. Bye.